Now, your forecast first, sponsored by orthopedic surgeon Dr. Lawrence Lee. Minimum invasion, maximum result.
Good evening. I'm your local weather authority, Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates. The snow is coming to an end across the region. We are done, other than maybe a stray flurry or two throughout the evening here in Peoria. Wind speed still a little bit on the gustier side, though, and will continue to be gusty through tonight. Snow is tapering off. Still a nice little batch of snow moving through Bloomington Normal, but it too is just about done. Skies will be cloudy tonight. Winds gusty at least through about 3 a.m. But how's the morning commute shaping up? We'll have a look at that forecast coming up. WMBD News at 10. Starts now.
Coming up, more people are now eligible to become police officers. The new law in Illinois that just took effect.
And a boost for schools, the new funding that will change the landscape of busing in the state.
Or just remember, we want to stay in the right lane as much as possible. So if we move to accommodate you, either get in front of us or get behind us. Just give us our right lane back and avoid us.
And that's exactly where we begin tonight. A warning from a truck driver to keep your distance while driving in this wintry weather.
Yes, indeed. We are continuing to track the snowfall and road conditions throughout central Illinois. Snow crews with Peoria Public Works have been working around the clock to help improve the roads.
Now, every plow driver is working in 12-hour shifts and will keep doing so until all roads in Peoria have been cleared and salted.
Now, the main roads, they remain wet, but they're still drivable. But one concern is the temperature dropping.
That heavy wet snow is going to be a challenge to where as the temperature drops, it's going to be a little tricky overnight, but our crews will still be out on 12s addressing those areas and addressing any refreeze areas.
The Department of Public Works will continue to focus on main roads in Peoria until snowfall officially stops. Then they will shift their focus to residential streets.
And the Illinois Department of Transportation is also working to keep our roadways clear and you safe.
Our plow trucks carry a supply of salt with them everywhere they go, so if they're not physically plowing the salt or the snow off the roads, then they'll be spreading out of the back of their trucks. So they can do dual purposes. Sometimes they'll just drive around and spread salt. Sometimes they'll just push the snow off the road.
IDOT says the interstates are their highest priority, but they also focus on Illinois marked routes, making sure those roads are in good condition.
And we do have team coverage tonight following these flakes. We'll begin with our Brianna Rittman, who joins us from our Twin Cities newsroom.
Brianna, you made the trek from our studio here in Peoria to our bureau in Bloomington. What were road conditions like?
Well, Rebecca Thomas, I will say driving conditions today were better than last night. Now, last night the roads were coated with snow, yet today between the rain and snow, the roads have been wet. Now, let's take a look at some video I took around Bloomington Normal throughout today. As you can see, slush is covering the roads, so be mindful when driving. And just because Bloomington Normal are twin cities doesn't mean the parking rules are the same. Normal issued a parking ban yesterday evening, and it will remain in effect until tomorrow at 5 a.m. Now, Bloomington currently does not have a parking ban in place, but may issue one on Friday night with our next round of anticipated snowfall. And remember, when a parking ban is in place, vehicles are to be parked in garages, driveways, or parking lots. And this is so that the snow plows can clear the streets. Now, for those in Normal who need a place to park, they can park at a town park for free. Thomas?
Brianna, thank you. Make sure you stay safe out there tonight. Now let's go ahead and move to our chief meteorologist, Chris Yates. Chris, are we going to see more snow tonight?
Well, the good news, Thomas, it is starting to finally wrap up. What's left will be nothing more than a few flurries to get us through about midnight. But in terms of accumulation, we should be done. Now, we still have winter storm warnings in place west of the Illinois River, winter weather advisories in the east. Wind is still expected to be somewhat of an issue as we head through tonight with the wind starting to pick up. Satellite radar composite does show the snow tapering off. Again, there's still some lingering flurries back towards the Mississippi River, but those are not expected to organize into anything meaningful or significant. And the road conditions as of now, well, they do remain snow covered, at least the surfaces that are untreated and unplowed. And that's really going to be the ongoing issue as we go through tonight. Even though temperatures are dropping well into the 20s, it's going to be a slow drop. So as long as the road crews can stay on top of it and continue to push off what snow and slush is still there before it freezes, I think the morning drive is going to be okay. Now let's turn to meteorologist Molly Naisland, who is out in the mobile storm tracker. Molly, where are you and how are the roads looking?
Yeah, so it doesn't look too bad outside, although we have seen plenty of areas of slush, especially on side streets. But an important thing to notice is even when the main roads do have mostly clear, the edges tend to still have some slush on them. And that's where we tend to pull over to turn left or right. You can see kind of outside here that we do have areas of slush towards the middle of the roads, towards the edges of the roads. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself that extra time to slow down so that you can safely turn towards your destination. Give yourself extra time to stop at stoplights, and not only that, give yourself extra time to get moving again so you don't accidentally spin out your tires. And as you're rolling through areas, you'll also want to make sure that you give yourself extra time to get in and out of parking lots, especially if they're on slopes. Those can be a little bit tricky at times, especially if you're trying to get out of people's way. So you want to make sure that you're careful outside, especially for the morning commute across central Illinois tomorrow. Just give yourself that extra time to get to your destination.
Molly, thank you so much. Make sure you stay safe. You've been out there all night. Go home, warm up, and get some hot cocoa, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
All righty. Thank you both for the work that you guys have done. And we have all your storm coverage and updates right now on our website, ciproud.com, and our CI Proud to Go weather app.
New at 10, Peoria City Council met tonight with several items on the agenda. Funds to be used for construction at the intersection of University and Pioneer Parkway were approved by City Council. A proposed TIF district on the Galena Road also had registration rules in a public hearing adopted. Councilmember Chuck Graham believes that the area is ripe for redevelopment and that the city is moving in the right direction.
The things that we've been approving, for example, over off Allen Road and Councilman Sears District with Maui Gym, et cetera. Now this, I think these are huge pluses for our community, and they will ultimately make our community more prosperous and create more jobs.
Peoria City Council also had extended on short-term rental regulations. Councilmember Tim Riggenbach expressed a desire for stronger regulations for disruptive events.
And from our Capitol newsroom, some non-citizens in Illinois can now become police officers and deputies. It's part of a new law that took effect at the start of the year. It applies to people who are legally authorized to work in the U.S. and are allowed to carry or have a gun. A University of Illinois professor says this law is another step towards making Illinois one of the most immigrant-friendly states under Governor Pritzker.
They do view it as a benefit not only to the immigrants, but also to our communities to have more people protecting us in the law enforcement positions.
Now, the law also attempts to carve out an exception for DACA recipients. They are undocumented people who were brought to the United States as children and are protected from being deported.
And we're following up on safety in Peoria Public Schools. Last year, PPS and the Peoria Police Department launched a new tip line called a Tip 411. Well, since the launch, they're seeing the results of this new system. The previous anonymous tip system didn't allow for the police to respond to that user who sent in the tip. Tip 411 allows the user to send in anonymous tips and for an officer to respond to the tips for more information. Director of School Safety for Peoria Public Schools, Demario Boone, provides an example of the tip line in action.
They saw a person who was identified as possibly one of our students on Instagram with a firearm. Found out it was a fake BB gun that was still, removed from the home. I was able to get the tip, identify who they were. An officer was at the house within 20 minutes, and we were able to close the case.
And you can find a link to our website, ciproud.com, that will take you over to the anonymous tip website.
News out of Washington, D.C. impacting students right here at home. U.S. Senators Tammy Duckworth and Dick Durbin announced $42 million in federal funding for clean school buses. The money comes from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Clean School Bus grants. Peoria Public Schools District 150 was selected to get nearly $6 million to buy 15 electric, environmental-friendly school buses. Lion Electric, a company based in Joliet, is manufacturing the buses with the hope they will be more reliable and efficient.
Reliability of the vehicles should improve. over a traditional, diesel or gasoline school bus. So the benefits are they're much cleaner to operate. There should be some cost savings in maintenance and fuel, and then the reliability of the vehicles should be greater than that over a diesel vehicle.
Now, Collins says the new buses should arrive and be fully operational by early 2025.
Still to come, Central Illinois isn't the only place experiencing some rough winter weather. A look at the storms across the U.S.
You're watching WMBD News, Central Illinois Proud, with Rebecca Brumfield, Thomas Garverick, Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates with your local weather authority forecast. Now, your local weather authority forecast from Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the rainfall reports we have from across the region. Knoxville, 7 inches of accumulation out in Knox County. Farmington coming in around 6. That is a couple hour old report, so it may actually be a little bit higher. We had a recent report, Northwest Peoria of 6.7. The official from PIA is 5.7, and out in Washington, 4.5. We've also had reports in the 5 to 5.5 inch range up near Princeville, and Metamora also in the 5.5 inch ballpark. We've got more reports on our website, ciproud.com. And of course, as always, if you have a snow report you'd like to relay or don't see your town on the list here, be sure to let us know. We'll include it in that in the final tally. All right, winter storm alerts. We've still got the winter storm warnings in the west, winter weather advisories in the east. The snow is coming to an end, but now the wind speeds are going to pick up a little bit, at least as we head through about 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. And we could see a few gusts approaching 40, if not 45 miles per hour. But at least the snow is done, and we're starting to see the skyline for the first time clearly in a couple of hours. Low 30s now. Temperatures have not budged a whole lot throughout the evening. We've been kind of stuck between 32, 34 degrees, and we are seeing a little bit more wind. Bloomington, for instance, now sustained at 26, gusting to 36 miles per hour. So far, not too bad up in Peru. We're starting to see some stronger gusts approaching Kewanee, Macomb, and also kind of scattered throughout Fulton County. That could contribute to some blowing snow, but given the wet nature of the snow, we don't expect significant blowing snow to be an issue tonight. You'll still encounter a few drifts here and there, especially on those north to south oriented county and country roads. So just keep that in the back of your mind as you head out tonight and early tomorrow. But in terms of the overall road conditions, we should be looking okay as the road crews continue to work overnight. System continues to move its way further east, and with it, it'll take the snow, pushing it itself out. Winds remain gusty again through about 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they'll become a little bit lighter. We're still going to have a pretty hefty breeze, though, as we head out for work or school tomorrow morning, and it will be a little uncomfortable with the wind chills likely to be in the lower teens. But future wind gusts, you can see wind gusts still holding into the low 30s early on and then dropping below 30 miles per hour as we kind of approach the morning commute. Lows tonight will be in the low 20s in the west, mid to upper 20s in the east. The good news is I'm not expecting the temperatures to really drop this low until late tonight. So roads that are wet now, we don't expect a sudden freeze. We do think that as long as they're treated, the roadways will probably be okay, but still watch out for your typical slick spots with a typical winter storm. And then as we head out through tomorrow, pretty uneventful day. There's another weak system coming in tomorrow that could produce a little bit of a burst of snow tomorrow evening. In terms of accumulation, we don't expect that to add up to much, and we'll see high temperatures once again right in the low to mid 30s, which is not too far from average for this time of year. We go through tomorrow night, we get a quick shot of snow north of I-74. Better chances for meaningful accumulation, mainly along the lines of 1 to 2 inches, will be north of Interstate 80. Anything we see close to home will just amount to a dusting or a ½ inch. But there is a stronger system waiting in the wings. We've been talking about this one as well, and you can just see it. That little dimple right there pushing into the northwest U.S. is our next storm. And as we head through tonight, tomorrow, it's going to start to dive its way in through the Great Basin. And then by Friday, it is going to reemerge east of the Rockies, moving out of Texas and Oklahoma. Couple of possibilities here in terms of a storm track. If it tracks further south, it'll be a little bit more of a weaker system for us. But the one that we're most concerned about is another track cutting through parts of Illinois, specifically the southern half of the state. That'll bring in a deeper area of low pressure, stronger winds, colder air, much better capability of producing heavier snow. And currently, that is the favored forecast track with this system, which looks to start late Thursday night, probably with a rain-snow mix, and then transition to snow as we head into Friday. And the amounts remain uncertain, but right now there is a very high probability of at least 3 inches of snow. Keep in mind, that's at least. And there's a really good possibility that for some, this could be a more significant snowmaker compared to the system that we've just gone through. So pay close attention to that. It could also have a lot more wind. Behind it, much colder air is filtering in. We'll be into the single digits to kick off next week.
In your national headlines, we aren't the only ones getting some rough winter weather. Now, some major winter storms are making a big impact across the U.S.
Yeah, we're seeing deadly tornadoes are targeting the south, blizzard conditions blanketing the Midwest, and high winds, heavy rain, and flooding arrived in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast.
And CBS News correspondent Dave Malkoff reports from hard-hit Panama City Beach, Florida.
While Iowa prepares for next week's Republican presidential caucuses, this week residents are dealing with dangerous weather.
We are seeing road conditions that are 100% snow and ice.
From the Hawkeye State all the way to Oregon, snow, wind, and low visibility ruled the day across much of the nation's western half.
Well, it's pretty deep, it's pretty heavy, it's starting to get off the shovel, so it's a lot we've seen in a long time.
Meanwhile, bad weather also swept the deep south, bringing tornadoes and flooding. In Atlanta, this driver said she had to ditch her car to get to safety.
The water was up to my door, so I had to roll my pants up, put my shoes in my book bag. I had to actually walk through that water to get out of there.
Pounding rain lashed Tallahassee. Parts of the Florida Panhandle were pummeled by a powerful tornado that blasted through block after block, even lifting homes off their foundation.
It was a freight train hitting a brick wall. That's how loud it was. It was extremely scary in the house.
5 years ago, Hurricane Michael destroyed the Treasure Island Marina. They just opened it up, and here we go again.
We have also deployed Florida Highway Patrol troopers to the Panhandle who are actively escorting critical equipment and personnel into impacted areas.
After the destruction, Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for dozens of counties in North Florida. Dave Malkoff, CBS News, Panama Beach, Florida.
And still ahead, a matchup of two state-ranked Peoria boys basketball teams is warming up a cold winter's evening. And Kurt Pegler has the highlights of that game next in sports.
Now, your Sam Lehman Sports Desk with Kurt Pegler.
Bradley's been streaky this year. 6 straight wins to open the season, then 5 losses in a row. Now 4 in a row in the win column. The Braves host Evansville tomorrow night. Connor Hickman's return from his foot injury has certainly helped BU to its current win streak. He's the Valley Player of the Week after 28 and 25-point games last week. Brian Wardle says Hickman's value to his team is in more ways than just scoring.
Obviously, having Connor has been huge for us, and his leadership, his toughness, his basketball IQ and feel. It's hard to replace that when you have a player like that. But you know, everyone in the Valley can say the same thing about 1 or 2 players on their roster, and he's one of them for us.
Bradley hosts Evansville tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And tomorrow night, ISU plays at Belmont. Those Bruins just beat league favorite Drake by 22 points Sunday. Nebraska just beat #1 Purdue in the Big Ten. Big game in high school hoops. Richwoods travels to Manual, a pair of state-ranked teams going head-to-head. Of course, Lathan Somerville doing his thing in a double team, muscles it in, plus the foul. He had 28 points and 9 rebounds. Terrence Page had 10 points for Manual, but here a nice assist on the Amari Breedlove hoop. Breedlove scored 8. Speaking of assists, Nick Louderman to a cutting Jared Jackson for the slam for the Knights. But moments later, it's Manual's Dietrich Richardson ahead of the pack after the steal, and he's going to send it home. Late first half, however, Richwoods would take a 10-point lead and then run away. Somerville to Daquan Little for 3. He had 14, and the Knights win it 69-52. State-ranked Normal Community plays at Champaign Centennial. Right at the end of the first quarter, Braylon Roman's miss is tipped home by Nico Newsom right before the buzzer. Moments later, Newsom is on the move, and look at this great spin move and the bucket plus the foul. Ironman crashing the glass. This is Owen Osborne with an offensive rebound and stick back here, and later Kobe Walker with a second chance hoop from in close, and the Ironmen win on the road 69-41. U-High hosts Springfield Southeast, and Miles Kieran corrals a loose ball on the long rebound here. He gains control of it, and then he's going to finish on the other end with a lay-in. Then he gets an assist when he kicks it out to Dalton Kruger, who's open for three, and he nails the triple. Pioneers are winners tonight. Cam Johnson down the lane, floats this one over a pair of defenders in the U-High 65-58 win over Springfield Southeast. Jason Welch and Central Catholic playing host to Sacred Heart Griffin. Trey Eller with a jab step and then a spin move as he takes it to the rim and scores. Then look at this play. Eller to Charlie's Graham and a slick pass back to Eller. He cuts in for the lay-in. And then it's going to be Eller again. He's going to pull up for three, but Eller and the Saints come up short tonight, 66-64, SHG. Great matchup in girls hoops. Normal Community hosts #1 ranked Lincoln, the 3A team at the top of the poll. Allie Russmeyer to Allie Ince, dribble drive in the lay-in for the Iron. Marco Reynolds then to Olivia Corson. She fights through her defender to get that tough shot in. Ince with a bounce pass to Amia Lester, who's going to gather it and knock down the three for Normal Community, but Lincoln was on fire tonight from the outside. Chloe Froby hits a three. She scores 29, and Lincoln beats Normal Community 67-29. More sports online, including a story on Tremont's Savannah Jost. 2 years after a cancer diagnosis, she's thriving as a starter for the Tremont Turks. That's in a story at our website, ciproud.com. You'll also find it on my WMBD News Facebook page. Briefly, the Normal West, El Paso Gridley, Lexington and Flanagan Cornell boys, and Bloomington and Pekin girls basketball teams also win tonight. Finally, in Kurt's Corner, coaches tell you to block out the shooter. And look at this at Iowa State. Hassan Ward's going to miss this free throw and dunk home the rebound. This is the free throw shooter. He misses the shot, and somehow nobody sees him. He follows it up for the jam. That's in tonight's Kurt's Corner.
Now, your final forecast, sponsored by the CI Proud to Go mobile app. When the lights go out, we're still on.
All right, things settling down in central Illinois, still keeping an eye on some gusty winds, which will stick with us through tonight. But here's a final check at the forecast. Low at 23 degrees. The snow has ended. Skies remain overcast for the rest of tonight. More cloud cover tomorrow, highs in the low 30s. Another store to pay attention to, set to move in Thursday night or Friday morning. That could be a bit of a stronger system, so we will stay tuned.
Okay, well, stay warm, stay inside, turn on a movie, relax. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning.